Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be reviewing this, which is First Summer Wine Series 2. Now, I watched a bit of it today, and also I'd watched it before, a couple of weeks before. But now I'm finally here to review it and go through my general opinions on the series. And yeah, I think it's a really great series. It's like the same as Series 1, but it just kind of has the same feel, the same vibe. So if you enjoyed the previous First Summer Wine Series 1, I definitely recommend you go and check out and buy this great release. But yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. The cast were absolutely amazing. Obviously, David Fennick, absolutely amazing in his role as Norman Clegg, obviously. I don't know how he pulls off that impression, that voice. I think that's absolutely incredible. And when I met him earlier this year, I said, "Oh, how great he was!" And that he's killing it in that role. But yeah, it was really great to see all the greatness, and also seeing the co-op as well and all that kind of stuff. That's also mentioned in previous Last on Wine series and things like that, which I thought was really great, a nice little touch. Also like how Clegg kind of gets a girlfriend in Anita Pillsworth, and that's a very interesting thing that happens there. So I enjoyed that bit. That was very interesting. Also enjoyed some of our other episodes that I really enjoyed during the series, particularly was the finale. Now, I'll talk about the finale a bit later, but the way they end the series I thought was they ended it on a very, a bit of a depressing note, but a bit of a high note as well, because in the last episode of the series, for some strange reason, Dillis is now getting married to Clegg's cousin, Brad, I think that's his name or something like that. And it's a bit strange, really, because I don't think it was kind of led up that Dillis was going to get married anyway, so it is a bit random, completely. But yeah, I enjoy the gags of when they're in the little car there. Well, not in the car, the little motorbike and sidecar. I really enjoy that, and how the sidecar's like slipping over and things like that, and falling over, and then at one point it just comes disattached. I really did like that. It was the last episode felt really like Last Summer Wine, like really summer wine as you could get in this series, which I really did enjoy. I also enjoyed how, like, at the end of it you see Foggy like standing on top of a bridge with his bayonet and things like that, and his bayonet falls into the water, all very funny and stuff like that. I thoroughly enjoyed that bit as well, and also when his bayonet goes in there and they put comp over the side, and it just feels like Last Summer Wine, and that's what I think was really great. And you can actually see them do all of that. As absolutely great. And also I did like how Seymour actually finally got to get with the woman who was in love with him for most of Series 1 and a bit of Series 2, and I felt like that was really nice, a nice closure to Seymour's kind of story, because he fancied Deborah Norbury so badly, but it was never going to work out because he worked at the co-op and he was a bit more common. Yeah, even though I think Seymour's quite a lot posh than like half of the other characters in this series anyway. But it was really great seeing how him finally get with the maid who works for the Norburys, which I thought was very great, and it was a nice little bit of writing how at the end, and then Seymour's kind of all fantasizing over her, so that was a really great thing. And something else I would like to mention is that Mr. Scrimshaw, the whole of this series, he's so horrible to Compo. Like, I mean, honestly, he like really mistreats him, like really badly. Like, I feel really sorry for him. Like, I mean, he didn't deserve any of that. I think it was it was a bit horrible, really, just because he was a bit more common, and yeah, it was a bit horrible, really. Something else I might mention is that Seymour, during a lot of series, he wants to become be a fighter pilot and be part of the Air Force and things like that. Whereas a lot of people are, oh, you make a rubbish aeroplane, you'd probably crash it or something, which I thought was really great. But yeah, obviously we all know that Seymour goes on to become a teacher in the end, obviously. But you never know, he could have become a fighter pilot. We never really hear about that in Lost and Wine, I don't believe anyway. But yeah, that's what I really do like. And I really do like how they're still kind of keeping the fact that Wally still wants to get with Nora Batty, which I've always thought was really great. How he still wants to be with her, even though she's not as tough as she is in Last Summer Wine, in my personal opinion. But I guess she kind of took Wally in the end, I'm guessing, going on Last Summer Wine continuity anyway. Really great. Sherbert doesn't do as much in this series as the previous series, but he still does quite a fair bit as well, in my personal opinion, particularly the bit with the dead body. It's not actually a dead body, it's Wally, and they like carry it in and they like pretend it's a dead body, and then Foggy goes and he touches it and he's like, oh, it's a dead person. But it's not actually a dead person, it was Wally the whole time, which I thought was very funny as well. Other thing I might mention is that Jonathan Linsley, who played Crusher, made an appearance in First Summer Wine as Chunky Livesey, who was a character from the first series, but this is a bit more of a different kind of character because he was like a throwaway character in series 1. There was like one appearance, but it's not the same. I don't think it's the same character in continuity or whatever. But yeah, I really did enjoy how they throw Jonathan Lindsay in there, and he plays much more tougher and a much more meaner kind of character. He wants to get Compo and beat him up because he's been out with his girlfriend, so he's a bit angry, which I really did enjoy. Jonathan Lindsay is very tall, so yeah, I met Jonathan Lindsay. He's a really great guy, really great guy. Big shout out to you. So I really did like how they drew Jonathan Lindsay there. They made him a kind of tougher, meaner character, which I thought was really great. And then how they ended that episode with Compo hiding underneath the coat with I believe Clegg was on top. I'm not quite sure on that, but yeah, they were walking out of the cinema with the thing over him, which I thought was absolutely great. Really great that was. Other things I'm going to mention, particularly from this series alone, is Foggy doing the sign writing, which I've always thought was really great because you got to see like what he did in the army with he was a corporal sign writer and things like that. But what I can say is Richard Lonston absolutely kills it in that role. Does an absolutely amazing job as Foggy Dewhurst. He could literally be a young Brian Wilde. Yeah, but I did like how he was painting the sign and then he got scared and they drew all the paint down, which I thought was really funny as well. Absolutely great. And also something else I should mention about Foggy Dewhurst is that Foggy Dewhurst's mum, Mrs. Dewhurst, yeah, that's her name, which she wasn't given anything else, I don't believe. For some strange reason, she says like something like "Come along, Graham," and I was just like, "What?" I was confused. Who the hell's Graham? that was more my point of what, because Foggy Dewhurst's real name is Walter, and so I've got no idea why the hell she called him Graham. Maybe we'll never know. Maybe Graham's his middle name. Maybe it's Walter Graham Dewhurst, but I'm pretty sure his middle name began with a T. Walter C. Dewhurst, but oh no, that's Corporal I was thinking of. So maybe it could be Graham. Graham could be his middle name, but we'll probably never know. But yeah, something else I was going to talk about in this series is that we get more of those gags where Clegg puts his hand on the gate and it's wet paint basically, because obviously Mr. Clegg, he's a bit strange. But I really do like Mr. Clegg, and I really do like how they brought in Peter Sallis into this series, which I thought was a great decision, really, and to play his father as well. But all the characters like kind of look who they're supposed to be, and also sound the way. If they don't particularly look like how they sound, then they are the characters, which I feel like is a really great move, because if you want an actor to play a character, you got to like kind of. It's not just about how the way they look, it's probably more about the way they perform as the character, and I feel like David Fennick really did that as well to bring out his Clegg. Despite not actually looking that much like Norman Clegg, he really embodies the life of Norman Clegg and the way Clegg would act and the way he would sound, which I always thought was such a great move on David Fennick's part. Absolutely great. other characters who I really enjoy in this series is Dillis. I really think Dillis is a great character. I always wanted her to get with Norman Clegg because I felt like they were a bit, felt like they could have gone together, and that would have been quite nice. Ivy, she does do a bit. She fantasizes over sherbet. I don't really know why. I feel like they should have brought Sid into this series, and then that might have mixed some bits up and stuff like that, which I thought would have been really great. But yeah. But back to the end of the series, when they find out that obviously war's coming in September 1939. Obviously they find out war's on the rise and things like that. They all kind of feel a bit sad, but they're like, oh, what are we going to do when the war's over and things like that. And it would have been really great if they did make a series 3, but unfortunately that day never came. But yeah, I feel like First Some Wine is a really great series. I recommend that you watch it. I think it's just absolutely great, and pretty sure that you would have an absolutely great time watching it, as I did as well. But back to what I was talking about. Obviously, Norman Clegg's father, Mr. Clegg. In the last episode, you really kind of see him, like Peter Sallis, kind of betray he kind of betrays Clegg, because when he's up there speaking, he's like, I don't really want to speak, which I thought was like kind of a bit more of a Clegg kind of area that Clegg would kind of do in Last Summer Wine. So that's kind of nice to see where he kind of inherits it from as well. Something else I should say is that his mum, she's really great character, Mrs. Clegg. The actress who plays her, she's been in lots of things. She's been in Open Hours, Still Open Hours. She's Granfield's girlfriend in that series. I think she's a great actress. Really funny, really enjoyable, and yeah. But yeah, it was really great to see the dynamic between that family, the Clegg family unit as well. I really do like it how his mum's like, oh, he's too old for girls, and it's like, oh, how old's Anita Pillsworth? And he's like, oh, she's only 19. So it was like, oh, he's going out with an older woman. He's only 18. So it was like, it doesn't really make much of a difference, really, which I find so funny. And Mr. Clay, I don't think he really cares. He's enjoying every 5 minutes of it. He's enjoying every minute of it. But yeah, Peter Sallis, absolutely amazing actor. R.I.P. mate, you're brilliant. Brilliant. There is also a scene where he gets Mr. Clegg gets a hat, and it has like as the thing being like one of those people in like the air raid thingies. What are they called? I think it's like a Warner or something like that. And Mrs. Clegg like decorates his hat with all flowers and things. That makes him quite a bit annoyed. Yeah, I think what really great character, Mr. Clegg, absolutely amazing. But something else I would just like to say is all this cast are absolutely great, and obviously Anita Pillsworth is played by the same actress who portrayed a character in EastEnders, that being Mary Smith in EastEnders. So I thought I might throw that in there as a bit of trivia. But yeah, it was really great seeing all of these characters and things like that. I thoroughly enjoyed the series. I've probably said that so many times because it is just so enjoyable, and I do recommend you get your hands on it. It's fully enjoyable. But something else I should mention is about Seymour again, because he gets a lot more character things in this series as well. The fact is that when he's at obviously the Norbury's house, he's like, oh, I'm here to see Deborah Norbury, and then she's like, oh, this is Seymour Otherthwaite from the co-op. He's like, oh, she's busy. It's like, just because of that, he completely gets absolutely taken down there. But yeah, something else I can really say. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah, it was very great. The cast are all great. I'd just like to say, it's incredible, really. It's a shame they never made a series 3, but I think it's a great prequel, and some prequels are not like that. They don't delve into things like that and stay true to its roots, and I feel like this one really does. Unlike Rock and Chips in a way, Rock and Chips went on a completely different scale, made a few retcons, changed a few dates and things like that. Whereas this kind of stays more true to the characters and more true to the canon of the series, and I feel like that's really great from it as well. But yeah, I absolutely enjoyed the series, and that's the end of my review. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the video soon enough. I don't know what videos are gonna coming out soon, but stay tuned anyway. See ya. Goodbye.